That's right. Welcome in. It is the Idaho Matt Chat Prepcast coming at you live on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, Facebook page, Twitter account, and the Idaho Wrestling News Facebook page. Thank you so much for being with us. We are here to talk about the great sport of wrestling in the great state of Idaho every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock Pacific time. As you're hanging out tonight, we'll introduce you to our panel of wrestling experts, of course, but as you're in the chat tonight, we want to hear from you, the fans. Where are you watching from tonight? Who are you repping? If there's an athlete, a coach, a team you want to give a shout out to, throw it in the chat. We'll throw it up on the screen. And even if you've got a question or comment for us, we want you to be part of the conversation and really steer the conversation. That's what this show is all about. So while you're hanging out tonight and you're thinking of something to say in the chat, if you can hit that like button and then share this when it's all over, that will also help everybody that's not able to be here live tonight find the replay a little easier amongst all the social media, yada, yada. So thank you for doing that. My name is Brandon Bainey. Let's introduce you to the panel tonight. First up from the Treasure Valley, Coach Al Fontes. Al, what's going on?
Not much. I just got back. We were having a duel meet with Eagle, and it was a pretty good duel when I left. So I'm not sure what the outcome is going to be because I know Eagle has some tough upper weight. But great crowd, great environment.
I appreciate you leaving the duels early to come do the show, Al. Now I know where your true loyalties lie.
I almost forgot.
No, Al has perfect attendance here on the Matt Chat Prepcast. Of course, couldn't miss. Here's a guy that's got perfect attendance. If you count, sometimes he's on camera, sometimes he's in the chat because he's always got to keep an eye on his 1-year-old. It's Jacob Eck. What's up, Jacob?
How's it going, guys?
Doing good. Doing good. You got the little guy occupied tonight? Last week it was a toy truck. What do you got tonight?
It was his birthday, so he has a bunch of new toys, just new stuff. So
oh man,
he's swimming in the good stuff right now.
That's awesome. What an exciting time. Our final panelist coming to us from East Idaho. It's Brian Solinger. Brian, what's going on?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, might as well show off that shirt you got there.
Yep, free Saxton Scott, right? Let the wrestlers wrestle.
Of course, we chronicled this earlier in the season. Saxton Scott transferred schools, and that is being decided now by the governing body of Idaho high school athletics. And hopefully soon, Saxon's been just kind of competing unattached this year, but hopefully he'll be able to compete with his team soon enough. All right. We've got lots of people in the chat already here. Where are you repping tonight? Travis says, go Sandpoint Bulldogs. Kether and Piper are here. Go Lewiston Bengals. North Idaho up 2-0, guys. Here's Ryan Marr tonight watching from Middleton. Lynn says, go Post Falls. Jacqueline, Post Falls Trojans with the Hamilton boys. Here's one. Destiny says, go Moho Tigers. Mountain Home. Love it. Let's see. Also here tonight, Jeffrey Clark representing the Blackfoot Broncos. Of course, Coach Donovan Nieder, go Idaho Falls Tigers. Bridget says, happy birthday to your little one, Jacob.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hopefully Ryder's back soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
We hope Ryder is doing okay for sure. Miria is here from New Plymouth. Go New Plymouth Pilgrims. Ray Jean, go Post Falls Trojans. Ryan says, go Idaho Sports Crew. Ryan Skaggs, our North Idaho broadcaster. Tom in the chat tonight, Century Diamondbacks, of course. Here's H.A. Haas. Hey, fellas. Kendra is here. Go Thunder Ridge High School Girls. And Bruce Schultz is in the North Idaho Mountains. Go all Idaho high school wrestlers. These are up in the whole state tonight. Brian, you've already gotten a couple of comments on that shirt as well. Amy says, not fair to Saxton when others did similar moves and are getting to compete. That's the whole thing is it's kind of almost like the NCAA, right? There's no rhyme or reason to who gets the green light and who doesn't.
Yep. Be nice to have some consistency for sure.
Yep. And Amy says, I love the shirt. My girl needs one. Yep, for sure. So All right. Well, we do have to start the show tonight with a serious topic. We like to have fun here on the show, of course, but in light of what happened this past weekend, we have to talk about what happened at the Skyview duels, specifically with a Skyview coach. This is a situation that developed as a freshman from NISA was competing. The video of the incident has been making the rounds on social media. And essentially, Al, just in the heat of the moment, this coach who is also a parent, right? And so many coaches out there, double as parents, obviously. But in the heat of the moment, this coach from Skyview crossed the line, went into the arena, right? Went into the mat and basically, put his hands on a high school athlete, which is unfortunate that it happened in the heat of a moment, but it's something that you just can't do.
It's a very unfortunate situation. I wasn't there to witness it firsthand, but I do know it's being dealt with at various levels. And that's about basically all I want to say. I don't want to comment any further. That's all I know. So, yes.
Yes. And I know lots of people on social media are, blowing, I don't want to say blowing up the spot, but basically trying to get this out here. And there's always two sides to a story. The video, of course, on its own looks bad, but here's where we're going to be at with it. We're not going to comment too much on it because this is a process that's now being played out between the school districts, right? The NISA school district from Oregon, the Skyview school district, as well as the governing bodies of each of these states. Al, there was a situation we talked about earlier this year where a parent came down from the stands and assaulted you, right? Put their hands on you. Now, at that time, we didn't say who it was because there's a process that this goes through where your school, Rocky Mountain, and the other person's school, they are, involved. And so as the process plays out, we're not going to name specifics or comment on it too much. And ultimately, whatever the findings are, I think we'll tell the story.
Yes.
So, Jacob, it is unfortunate because people that know this coach, and I don't know this coach. I don't know anybody that's involved in this, but, we hear that he's a great guy, good coach, but at the same time, just for a moment, I think that competitor came out, right? And when you cross over into being a coach, that's a line that you cannot cross. And so it is unfortunate that this occurred.
I don't know. All I know is exactly what I saw on social media and what's been put out there. And
so I do coach with him. He's a great man, great person in the community, family man. It's a circumstance we don't want to see. It's very unfortunate, but I didn't see this one coming, but just let the process play out. It's just one of those rough situations to where sometimes emotions take in, and it's not good.
Yep. And Brian, we're in no way condoning what happened, right? But when you are in a high profile position as a coach and that spotlight is on you, you have to be perfect at times. We see it in other sports, and it's unfortunate that this happened this way.
You do. And I'm sure, this is this coach father was was a college teammate of mine, actually. And, so I've known him for 20 plus years. And I'm sure you can see in the video, he feels, emotion takes over sometimes, and that's not an excuse. It should never happen. But, in our sport, we try to focus on the positive. So we'll let the officials take care of this. And, it's not going to happen again. And hopefully this gentleman's able to stay involved in the sport, but perhaps not on the next to the mat for a little while.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he was, coaching again for sure. And just to everybody on social media, because everybody's got their opinion and want to chime in. Let's just remember, if you weren't directly involved with the situation, it's probably okay to just sit back and not spout your opinion one way or the other. And just let the process play out. I've seen it on both sides today already on social media, just in the short time that I was on checking. So, when in doubt, maybe just sit back and let's see how this thing plays out. But for sure. All right. Well, let's move on, guys, to the best thing that we saw from the week that was. We always like to highlight what happened in the past week. There were some big invitationals, Tiger-Grizz, of course, the Clearwater Classic in Lewiston. Al, I'll start with you. What was the best thing that you saw from the past week?
I wasn't there, but I saw some of the matches and videos. It just seems like the Tiger-Grizz, the finals, there were so many good, solid kids there. I mean, from top to bottom. I believe it was in the boys division. Was it Hudson Rogers was OW? I believe he was OW, but there was so many kids that were right there that were, I mean, could have been OW. So great competition there, considering that I think almost a third of the teams, the wrestlers that placed were from out of state. So it seemed like the competition was up this year. I mean, I'm not sure, Brian.
Yeah, I think, definitely in some of those weights, the top end, you had, in one of those weights, I think we had 4 All-Americans, national champion All-Americans in the weight. So I think the top end, Westlake strengthened the field this year. That was fun to see Westlake and Brady go head to head.
Yeah, I just call out the spirit of competition. It was great wrestling from what I was able to observe.
Yep, it was good. Jacob, what was the best thing you saw from the past week?
Fulmer and Mac going 4 for 4 Tiger-Grizz. My guy Coulter getting number 200 at Tiger-Grizz. And then really the finals. The finals are fun. Like, there are some kids out there just scrapping. Like, it's just fun to watch them. Kids just, like, like when you see finals, sometimes everybody wrestles a little bit in a ball. Those guys, they're like, all right. Brian got the pyrotechnics up. They had the Jumbotron going. It was going, so they came out ready to fight. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, Tiger-Grizz is always a good atmosphere for sure, Brian. What was the best thing you saw from the past week?
Man, I can't believe Jacob stole both of my thunders. I had one Mager and Fulmer being 4-time Tiger-Grizz champs, which is impressive. I think Cale Sanderson's the last one I know of that did that. So to have 2 in 1 year was amazing. And my backup plan was Coulter Burton's 200 wins, and he stole them both in one. So I'm just going to say great week of wrestling altogether.
Yeah, and I got two things. Remember last week when I told you Rocky Mountains Cale Bullock was going to reach 100? He's now up to about 102, 103 wins right now. So he finally reached the Century Club.
Awesome. I saw Brecken Searle from Skyline got over 100, which is great to see also. Yeah, I was going to say Coulter Burton. Sorry, Crew Searle. Brecken Searle, different sport, different athlete.
So this is to Brian and Jacob. Where did Tiger-Grizz come from? Was it 2 schools working together and it was their mascot? Or what's the origins of that name?
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Idaho Falls High School is Tigers. Skyline High School is the Grizzlies. They're in the same district, bordering each other. I mean, so that's where it came from. Okay. And they do it in multiple sports. There's a Tiger-Grizz track meet. Football's a little different. They have the Emotion Bowl, but that's where it came from.
Okay, cool. I figured that was the case.
Al, the football teams share a football facility, Ravston Stadium, and the winner of the annual Emotion Bowl gets to paint the goalposts their school color, and they stay that way until the next game. So
what color is it going to be this year, Brian?
Blue, always blue.
It's been blue most of the time lately, I'll say for sure. I was going to say Coulter Burton crossing 200. Tom says the same thing. Huge shout out to Coulter Burton and his accomplishment at Tiger-Grizz.
That's incredible. 200 wins. Wow.
Yeah. That's just hard to wrap the head around for sure.
207 or something.
Wow. That's incredible. Well, he's put in the time. Hard worker.
Yep. We're getting some more in the chat here of the best things that everyone saw from the past week. Ryan Skaggs says, how about Hoyt Haas finishing undefeated in his career at the Clearwater Classic, 4-0. At the home venue at Lewiston High School. Always nice to defend that home floor, Brian.
Absolutely. Good wrestling took place up north too. I see a comment and that you had multiple tournaments that we'll get into, but that's congrats to Hoyt. That's pretty awesome to win any tournament 4 times in a row.
Yep, for sure. Here's a good bit of news, guys, from up north in Post Falls. Lynn says Trey Smith is doing better. He got the staples out of his knee yesterday, one day at a time. Still on antibiotics for a bit, but can't wait to see him back on the mat. Since the last mat chat that we did, basically confirming what we thought. Trey Smith's season is over. He'll just try to rehab and heal up that knee. Those infections are nasty, and you got to take care of those, especially when they're right by joints. So we wish Trey the best in his recovery, and we can't wait to see him back on the mat here in the off season and next school year as well. Here's Jose. Shout out Wesley Hodges of Moho Mountain Home, taking out the 4A number 1 seed at 195 at Tiger-Grizz. Down 5-0, came back to win at 6-5. Did you see this one, Jacob?
I didn't watch that one, but I click on all the little bubbles because some of the flow feeds are a little sketchy at times. You can watch the replay; it's pretty good, but some of the live ones, I was texting Brian like, "Come on!" But there's some good ones. I used the group chat one time, maybe twice.
Yeah. As somebody who's in the business of live streaming lots of events at Idaho Sports, hey man, sometimes technology just doesn't want to cooperate, and you just got to be patient with it for sure. I totally get that for sure. Let's see. Melody says, how about Josie Newby from Grace winning 132 at Tiger-Grizz? Heck of a match. Yeah. We talk about this Grace program a lot, Brian, and of course, Coach James Newby and Hans Newby on the boys side, but how about Josie on the girls side as well?
Yeah, that was an impressive final match with Zoe Ortiz of Bonneville, who's won a lot of tournaments in a row. And it was a great finals matchup. One of the best girls matches of the night for sure. Came down to the wire, and props to Josie. She is solid, and Dad has taught her well. And Mom helps there too. So Mom and Dad have taught her well.
So Grace is a 1A school? 1A?
Yes, 1A.
So, you're talking, they've had some pretty good wrestlers for the amount of kids they got there. That's incredible.
Yep. Cobra Skinner says, great showing by the Grizzlies. Only 1A team at Tiger-Grizz. Way to go, Josie Newby, for taking the 132 title for sure. Jack says, and he was talking about what Jose said, best match last week at Tiger-Grizz, 195. Wesley Hodges from Moho versus Preston Sonner Cranny from Minico, 6-5 win. Wesley's been after that win forever. Al, this is what we love about wrestling, where a kid has gotten so close and can taste it, and they finally climb that mountain and get over it.
No, it's incredible to watch. But, we got state rankings and we got tournament results going back and forth. But, man, when it comes to state, some kids at the end peak at the right time, and that's the name of the game. It's peaking at the right time or just gaining that confidence. Sometimes with these kids winning those matches, it puts them on a whole mental trajectory where they just go from there, and next thing you know, they're just at a different level. So It's great to see. It's good for wrestling.
For sure. Ryan Skaggs, Lapwai Wildcats had a duel with the Asotin Panthers from Washington, 2 programs that just started wrestling again in the last 2 years. Hey, we love to see the expansion of the sport, Jacob.
Yeah, we gotta love to see that. You should have live streamed the duel. Ryan should have went there, got on the mic, put it out there.
Yeah, come on.
Some good content.
Come on, Ryan. Where were you at? This is a bit.
That one.
And this is a big week for Lapwai, of course. I don't talk about that other winter sport, but
why not?
Yeah, Case Wynot is 6 points away from the all-time scoring record for Idaho boys basketball, which is pretty cool. So
I tune into the other chats every now and then. I pay attention.
And by the way, IdahoSports.com will be broadcasting that game live on Thursday. So if you want to see history on the court, you can tune in on IdahoSports.com for free. Zach says, don't forget Tucker Bowen. He notched 150 career wins this weekend, Al.
Wow, that's impressive. Outstanding.
And
a kid that puts in the time in the off season.
Yes. And Saxton Scott won his 100th match this weekend as well at Tiger-Grizz. So all sorts of career.
He's a junior, so he's got 150 potential too.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Really fun. Okay, we got a request from Amy, our Magic Valley resident. She says, hey, there was wrestling in other parts of the state. Yes, Gooding was hosting the Gooding duels. And so Charles says that the Gooding duels at 138, we should have seen Thomas from Glens Ferry and Googleman from American Falls, both number ones in there. Unfortunately, American Falls backed out on that duel. Is that common? Al, sometimes with the schedule, I've heard it in the past of teams that put together the schedule not realizing that they've met their commitment. You can only fill X amount of dates on your schedule, and sometimes you can overbook yourself without realizing.
It happens. It happens. I mean, like this year we had some snow days and we missed a dual meet. Like tonight's dual meet we had with Eagle was a makeup because we got canceled last week. So, but no, it happens.
And that's easier for you guys to pull off in the Treasure Valley. You don't ever have to drive anywhere more than 20 minutes over in East Idaho. You know, you gotta go a little further.
2-hour drive. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
We're 40 minutes away from anywhere in the Treasure Valley.
Yep, for sure. So yes, we would love to hear more from the Gooding duels from our Magic Valley folks. So
I know I logged in and watched Mackenzie versus Brunson run it back one time. That was a good match. Yeah. Brunson got a little bit, he got his get back, so it's good to watch. And then Buell trying to make everybody eat a little bit of crow, taking out Fruitland. So it'll be interesting a couple weeks from now.
Yeah. Jacob, can I get your opinion on this 3A race? Because we've got South Fremont, we've got Buell, we've got Fruitland, and we haven't seen a lot of them go up against each other. They've all kind of been off doing their own things this year. So for me, it's really hard to gauge how this 3A race is going to go.
It's tough to I picked Fruitland in the beginning, and then they go to Raleigh, lose it by half a point. But then it's hard to gauge because you don't get no Buell there. You didn't get South and three of their best guys. But it's going to come down to kind of the same thing, numbers. Who has a lot of twos that are going to score a lot of points, and who's healthy? That's huge.
Yeah, it's a different mathematical equation.
Like that duel, it happens all the time. Teams lose duels constantly. You never know with some certain matchups, and then they get a state tournament. You know, the whole game changes. Meridian goes and I don't even know what place they took it. Raleigh.
They took 10, but if you add their two studs, right?
Yeah, and
that's up there because of the matches. They could have scored another 70 points or whatever. That would put them right there.
Yeah, so it happens constantly. And then Minico, what would Minico do if you could have scored everybody that they have? They show up with an army plus 10 more. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be what happens district and who takes who and what and how many. That's a big thing. Once you get to state, everybody counts.
Mm-hmm.
But Buell probably going to take 30 kids, 29 kids from their district. Something like that. They're going to be a lot. It's who's healthy and who gets what spot. It's big time.
Minico will do okay because they're in a big 7-team district, but they, the bottom of the district is not as strong as, Jerome, Minico at the top. And so, Minico's they have more representation coming from a 7-team district. And then they get all those kids through. And so that's why Minico's always got that strength in numbers. It's a nice spot that they're in for sure. More shout outs here. Ray Jean. How about Tyson Barnhart from Post Falls? Won the 145 in OT against the Utah kid in the finals at Tiger-Grizz. A nail biter, Brian.
Yeah, it was a great finals match, and Barnhart to beat I think it was Fish from Westlake. I mean, Fish is solid. He took out, Nider, the returning Tiger-Grizz champ in the round before that, which was, I was surprised. It looked like Nider was in control of the match. So props to Barnhart for pulling that out because the Fish kid is solid.
Yep. And just a little further up the weight scale, Blandford, the 160 champion at Tiger-Grizz, 2-time runner-up the last 2 years. Finally broke through with the win, which is always great to see as well. Go ahead.
No, he was dominant. Blandford was dominant. Pretty much pinned and teched his way to the finals and had a major in the finals. So it was a great tournament for Blandford.
Yep. Okay. Michaela Smith at 114, winning her first Tiger-Grizz, and also only 7 wins away from the Century Club as a junior. She will be the first female wrestler to hit 100 wins for that school. History, Al.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, I've seen her compete. I know she's a 1 or 2-time state placer, right? So she's put in the time. Talented.
Yes.
So I got a question. Going back to the Tiger-Grizz. I mean, over I think it was around 33, just a third of the placers from out of state. Is this the norm, or I mean, is there more out of state teams this year in the past, or are they traditionally bringing a lot of out of state?
I think it's the norm. Like for during the 90s, Wasatch would bring a team back when the Sandersons were there. Wasatch won it 3 or 4 years in a row, I think.
Okay.
Star Valley, Wyoming's always come. Evanston. Some of the better programs from both Utah and Wyoming. Usually there's a few Nevada schools. So actually this year we didn't have any Nevada schools, which was the first time in a while. So it's pretty normal to have that many out of schools.
Yeah, it just seems like the level was, you're looking at Raleigh and you're looking at this, and it seemed like some of the placers, it was pretty close. I mean, there's some darn good kids in the medal matches.
Yep.
It almost felt down out of state. You didn't get no Green River.
Yeah.
Box Elder. There was a handful of Utah schools that, even maybe a Montana or two sneak down. Nevada is usually bring something. It's good. There's some good kids. There's some good 3rd, 4th place matches. Kids that wrestled at Fargo and they're all Americans at Fargo or national champs. They're wrestling for 3rd. So
yeah, you have Banton Scott in the 3rd place match. Yeah. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, 120s, right? And Eck was 2nd.
Yeah.
It's 3 All-Americans right there.
Right.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the Sean Hall Packer match. That looked like it was a good match, huh? 3-1.
It was a tight match. And
all right, Brian, we have to get your ref in this.
Live that was so hard to see, and the lights from where I was at. So I really have no opinion. And then the video is even worse. So I honestly, that's a tough call. It would have been fun to see it go to overtime.
I've watched this 3 times. I was ready for you tonight. I knew it was going to come up. Did? Okay, I thought Packer would win. Like if I was picking. And in a cradle. Put him on a hip. 2 or no?
2.
It depends on what angle. I'm with you. In live, I sat right behind.
Did he hit a hip?
Yeah, I sat right behind South. Did he hit a hip? I don't know, but then I watched the South feed from above. Did he hit a hip? And that's a rough one. I just wanted to get that.
It makes it crazy. That's, it'd be so hard to have replay in high school wrestling just because you usually don't have the cameras there. That's helped college wrestling so much. I think the last few years is having replay on calls just like that. It's a sport. You teach your kids. Don't let it get close enough the referee decides it, but you get high level matches like that, and it's bound to happen. Nothing you can do about it. So
that's a bad rule in a sense. It's the rule, but in that moment was that
right?
So it's one of those judgments where.
Yeah.
Good thing it wasn't you, right? You're like,
yeah, I don't like those matches.
So looking at the girls, Tiger-Grizz, that Star Valley team of Wyoming, they won it. It looked like it won it by 29 points. But Thunder Ridge, and they're doing pretty good this year.
They are. They're deep. They are. They're super deep in every weight. The 100 you had on all Thunder Ridge finals, which was another, upset of the night. Taylor Brown goes down to her JV in the finals, and I know she was a little injured, but yeah, Thunder Ridge is solid. I'm looking forward. Skyline is going over to duel them. It wasn't on the schedule before the season, but they're going to duel them Thursday night. And that should be, tell us a lot about the state girls race.
Yeah. Now you're starting to see the gap at the women's girls division where the matches are getting tighter and closer and more competitive, throughout the tournament. This is great to see.
More film, more times you're matching up with people, more adjustments you can make. It is growing for sure. It's nice to see. Speaking of girls wrestling, Miria says 2A New Plymouth tied for 3rd place at the Clearwater Classic with only 3 girls. Brian, you ever seen this before?
That's super impressive. 3 girls and they're great. It's and I'm not coming back to Tiger-Grizz every time, but similar thing with Buell. Buell brought 3 girls to Tiger-Grizz, and 2 of them are the champions, or in the championship. So that's pretty impressive for New Plymouth to take 3rd place with only 3. So,
and who won the Clearwater girls? Wasn't it Lewiston over Shaney? I think Lewiston may have won it.
Yes.
No, it's great to see. It's really great to see.
Let's see. Amy says Colin Robinson went over 150 career wins in Nevada last week. There's another one crossing.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yes. Guys, I'm taking a little heat in the chat here with my basketball comments here. Bainey again with the B-ball. And then Bruce says, I need to go to church twice this Sunday for bringing up that other sport. Oh, Lordy. Oh my gosh. Hey, we were weighing in on that 3A race. Tom is a 4A guy from Century, but his 2 cents, Buell wins 3A at state. We did our season picks. I've still got those in the vault, guys. I'll bring them out at the end of the season, see how right we were on our predictions. I picked Buell when we were going down the 3A list, so we'll see.
Buell losing Zanetti, that's a big one.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah, because it's going to come down to death. And that was the difference. Fruitland and Buell this week. It's a dual tournament is what it is, but you get to a tournament where you can have 2 kids at each weight class. Makes a difference for sure.
Yeah. Okay, we were talking about earlier, Googleman from American Falls and, what happened at that matchup in Gooding. So in the chat, we heard that Googleman is battling some concussion problems. That's what Zach says in the chat. So, hey, we totally understand that. The original poster, Charles, says, my bad. The match didn't happen still. And then we had a follow-up that the match just didn't happen, which is fine. Brian, I guess in the moment, if you're making a split-second decision about should this kid wrestle or not, you don't always have somebody to pull up to replace that spot with, right? Sometimes you just have to concede the match.
Yeah, you got to roll with what you got there, and coaches make strategic decisions on matchups. That's why they flip the disc at the beginning of the match. So one team has choice to who to send out. And, I don't know if it was for strategy or why not, but yeah, it's on the fly sometimes and it just happens.
Yep. Okay. Tom says, Brian, Spring Creek, Nevada. Were they there at Tiger-Grizz? Yeah.
I didn't see them. They usually are. That's the Nevada school that's usually there. And I don't remember seeing anybody from Spring Creek there.
They weren't in the top 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Ryan Skaggs says Jackson Nantel in the chat, an absolute hammer for the Jacks. That's the St. Mary's Lumberjacks. That St. Mary's team has some dudes and is on a tear right now. Definitely could take home some hardware at state. Ryan, it sounds like you're auditioning for the role of a 3A, 2A, 1A correspondent. We had the request in the chat. Can we get a little more? Hey, you guys are awesome, but I think you need to add some 3A, 2A, 1A panelists, guys. Al, can you break down for me what's been the most impressive 2A, 1A team that you've seen so far this year? Could be either or.
I told her to ask all the questions. I'll help you out when you're ready, Al.
I don't have an answer right now. It's still up in the air. It's not like when Rare and New.
It's on your hat there. Big M.
Big M.
It's Malad, right? That's who I picked in the preseason to win the 2A championship. Yeah. Malad just has they've got that rare combination, Jacob. It seems like of hammers in the lineup, but then good depth to fill in behind it.
Yeah, they have a lot of kids for a 2A school. They have a full lineup plus some. Plus they got dudes that are gonna win it, and there is at least one that's gonna bonus their way through it. I'm just saying. Like, they should get bonus points at 138 for the entire tournament.
Yeah.
It's just going to be hard to beat them. Like, Kellogg should send a whole grip down, but do they have every weight plus some? New Plymouth, Ryrie. Ryrie wins it on depth. Wow, that's crazy this year, though.
Yeah. Now, how did they do that district? So, Malad is 2A. Is Westside 1A? Westside is 1A, right?
No, Westside's a 2A.
Are they 2A as well? Because, I mean, right next to Malad, I think Westside's going to be in the mix this year. At least their upper end, their 6-pounder, their 60-pounder, and their heavyweight are both, right there in the mix. So Westside could make some noise. That's a team that you don't mention a whole lot, but they've got some hammers there. And you already mentioned Ryrie, but North Fremont always has a solid team as well. They're going to be pulling a few kids through. their problem will be districts getting beat up with Ryrie there, and West J and Chalice have some kids at weights. So be fun to watch that race for sure.
Yep. Zach says 2A. It's Malad, and it isn't close. Everybody just remember in the preseason who picked Malad. Me and Brian. Brian stole it. I was going to pick Malad, and then Brian
Double B
beat me to it. But yes, and you know, yeah, it's Ryrie. I do agree. I think West Side has some sleeper potential. You know, up north, is it Kellogg? St. Mary's is going to take some of those numbers from Kellogg too, though. And let's not forget about Priest River. I think Priest River is going to eat into those numbers a little bit from Kellogg also. So from the north, I just don't know that there's going to be any team that comes down that has enough to really challenge for the title. You know, maybe, you know, top 5 finish or something, but and then over in the Treasure Valley, you know, New Plymouth is still kind of the gold standard when it comes to 2A, 1A wrestling.
Yeah. I think Kellogg won the tournament they were at this week. What were they at? Were they at Clearwater? No,
Kellogg.
No.
Yeah, I thought they won whatever tournament they were at this week too.
Yeah, they didn't go.
No, they were second behind Coeur d'Alene at the Clearwater Classic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was Coeur d'Alene 214, Kellogg second at 177.
Yeah. So, you know, like Brandon said, for a 2A school, I mean, they placed ahead of Lewiston this week up there. So that's an impressive showing. So Kellogg could definitely make some noise.
And New Plymouth was 9th.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yep. John wants to know, will Tiger-Grizz be at the Mountain America Center next year, Brian?
So they are negotiating with the Mountain America Center, and that's I don't know. I don't want to say likely, but it's definitely they're working on that now, and that's kind of the plan is to move it to the Mountain America Center next year, which would be great. You know, not quite as large as the Idaho Center, but as far as mat space, it's pretty close. We get to 10 to 12 mats on the floor there. Seating is good, and all in one room rather than the split gyms like it is at Skyline. So that's the plan.
Okay, interesting.
Probably be able to add 15, 20 teams if that's the case, and get them up to closer to 50 teams. So it'd be a big deal if we get it.
How many mats can they put on the floor?
We're thinking 12. They were going to go measure it and make sure, but they're thinking we get 12 in there.
That's awesome. Cool. I'm excited to see that in action for sure. Alfonso wants to know, hey, Al, where's your 70s mustache? You're missing out. You're the only clean-shaven guy in the group.
I used to have the 80s mustache, but no.
We talked about the Lewiston girls winning the Clearwater Classic. HA says the newest hidden gem of Idaho won Outstanding Wrestler and led her team to the team title at the Clearwater Classic. Jolie Slider and Lewiston girls wrestling. Absolutely. Also, shout out to the Blackfoot girls. Kayla says Blackfoot had 2 girls in the finals at Tiger-Grizz. Also, we're keeping an eye on Blackfoot for sure. So, yes, Al, it just published earlier today, your latest Hidden Gems of Idaho series. You went one-on-one with Jolie Slider from Lewiston. That was a really fun read.
Yeah, great kid, great family, hard worker. We've talked about the importance of embracing the process, not the wins and losses. And she's definitely, one of those type of kids that her trajectory is up there. And I wish her the best. Great kid. Once again, another honor student, 4.0 student, going to be in an honor society. She's great. It was an honor to write about her. So
yeah, everybody should go. It's on the top of the homepage at IdahoSports.com. That leads us into our Matt Chat Prepcast Wrestler of the Week. We choose one amongst all the men, all the women that are wrestling throughout the week of competition, and we kind of all debate in our little group chat. We go back and forth, and I think we had a really good selection this week for our Idaho Matt Chat Prepcast Wrestler of the Week. It's Elise Twait from Meridian High School, the junior Al. She was the outstanding wrestler at Tiger-Grizz.
No, I mean, this is our 3rd year in the sport of wrestling. Just some highlights from her. She comes from a great family. I know her father, Brian, great guy. I've talked to him a lot. I think he's a former wrestler, wrestling in college at North Dakota State. I believe this is the case. Last year when she won state along with her brother Isaiah, I think it was the first time brother and sister had won a state title in the same season. And also her other older brothers, Matt and Caleb, were all in the state finals as well. So great family. She's a 4.0 student taking advanced placement courses. I think the best is yet to come with her. Great athlete.
And of course, we always put up the academic accolades and the wrestling accolades. 4.0 GPA. Brian, this is just easy street though. A lot of college prep and AP classes, which are, you get enough of those done. I've seen some kids that go to college and they've already got their associate's degree. It's crazy.
Yeah. Pretty cool. It seems to be a trend here too on, these outstanding wrestlers that we're choosing in the Hidden Gem articles that Al's doing. It seems to be a trend with these upper echelon wrestlers that they have great GPAs. They're good in all areas. We read about the leadership skills. Elise exemplifies that. And it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Every kid I've written about has been on the honor roll. Over 50% have been honor society. So it's impressive. I mean, what's the probability of that being a great student athlete, great in their community? This is awesome.
Yep. So congratulations to Elise Twait from Meridian, the 152-pound junior, our Matt Chet Prepcast Wrestler of the Week. This picture is from last year at the Walk of Champions.
Yep.
She won it over Ms. Waite from Boise High. It was a good matchup last year in the finals, Al.
Yep. I agree. No, great choice. I wish her the best of luck. Hard worker. I mean, I've seen her train, in the summer at the Best on Best in some of the other areas. So I wish her the best.
Yep. HA says, congrats, Elise. Gotta love those Twaits. Definitely. More highlights from last week. HA also says Kellogg is a tough team. We saw that at the Clearwater Classic. Mm-hmm. Sandpoint went out of state. They went to Thompson Falls, Montana, and they won the team title at Ted Cato this weekend.
No, they did, and they had a couple champions. I think Cheryl was one of their champions, and a few other kids I think were in the finals. But overall, they did a great job there.
Yeah, really fun. Anthony says Coy Kaufman had a good weekend, beating Aiken, Robinson, and Morris. Good look for the Fruitland Grizzly there, Jacob.
And good look for the panel of rankers. Just saying, you're number one, and you took out home. Don't get a tweet. Don't get a hit that too often. So he wrestled good. I looked at. That was one of the weights I was watching over there. There's a couple weights, 32. Seeing a couple guys come back, 95. Let's see. There's a couple matchups there, and 38. All those guys, but they're close. Like all those matches are close. So. You never know what's going to happen soon.
Yep.
But he looked great.
Was stud for sure.
Yeah.
We all chip in on these rankings, Brian, and we do it for fun, right? But also, gets the conversation about but for these kids too. It can be a really big motivator. Get that chip on the shoulder. It
can. I heard from, a few parents this week that exact thing. Hey, my kid just beat this kid. Like, he should be moving up in the rankings or whatever. He's using it for fuel right now because he's not where he thinks he should be. So it's funny to see. And, they really mean nothing. Obviously, that's the great thing about the sport. We're not relying on a poll or, to see who goes where. But they're fun to watch. And if it's giving kids motivation, that's great.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And I think it shows how talented the state of Idaho is, that there is so much fluctuation between the different weight classes. Just because you're number 6 one week, you might be number 3 the next. Rebecca says Gabe Finley beat last week's projected number 1 in that 195 3A. So Wendell Trojan there, right? Or is that Buell?
Buell.
Okay. There's Finley's at Wendell too. I always get it mixed up. But that's a nice job too there. Okay. Question from Corey. Aren't there some barsies at Westside? The answer is yes. There's barsies. Is there a sport happening at Westside, Brian? There's probably a barsy involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And some good ones this year. The 6-pounder, I think is it Coulter? or Colton. No, Coulter.
Coulter, Barzy.
He should be one of the favorites there. So there's definitely Barzies there.
Yep, for sure. Let's see. Jack says, I love seeing girls wrestling grow, but Tiger-Grizz is getting way too congested. How about girls move across the street to Eagle Rock Middle School, at least for the first day? Brian, I think that's, as Tiger-Grizz grows, and it grows on the girls' side too, that is something we'll have to consider. What do we do with that?
It is, and that's exactly one of the discussions that we're had. And Tiger-Grizz is unique because they have a second chance tournament. So those kids that are out the first day get in another tournament. And so we've looked about moving that over to Eagle Rock to free up some stuff. If we get them out in America Center next year, that will take care of all those issues. But he's absolutely right. It gets tied in there and make it able to have more schools if we did move either the second chance across the street to Eagle Rock or we get them out in America Center.
So I got a question for the panel. I mean, women's girls wrestling is growing exponentially, right? We're upwards of over 800 girls that have qualified. They're sanctioned with the boys. Does anyone know what it's going to take for girls to be separately sanctioned? I mean, we're going to reach a point where they're going to have, paid coaches to be the girls' pro. I mean, it's getting to that point now where it's getting big enough to where we may have to have, designated coaches for the girls and the boys, etc. Not that we'd split in tournaments, but it's growing at that point. What's it going to take to be sanctioned separately? Do you know? Is there a number? Have you heard anything?
I will say when I was in a meeting with some IHSAA officials, this was way back in like July before the school year started. They said, and it wasn't anything about, it was just about splitting the girls wrestling up by classification, right? A 5A, a 4A, a 3A bracket. And they said, hey, look, there's no magic number here that we're looking at. We just want to see continued growth and more growth. But that being said, my sneaking suspicion is they want to see that 1,000 number first before any sort of change happens. That's just my gut feeling. But they have said there's not a specific number we're looking for. It's just more about continued growth. But,
well, we're going to reach that 1,000. I mean, we're on that trajectory sooner than later.
Yep. So that's what that's what I think we're at. But yes, I think eventually it's going to have to be its own separate entity, and we'll break it up by classifications. And you're right, Al. Everyone will have to have a dedicated women's coach. For sure. Yep.
Because I know at Rocky, I mean, our room's so big, and if we were to grow as big as Thunder Ridge or Canyon Ridge with numbers, we would run out of room. I mean, it's getting bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're talking about practice times and practice facilities. And just ask any swimmers how that goes. It is, oh, it's crazy. You got swimmers competing at like 11:30 at night because there's one pool and everybody's, got to use the same facilities, Brian. It's crazy.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Okay, here's the question. Mark says Fruitland looks good. Almost winning Raleigh Lane. This is a couple weeks ago, obviously, but has a 3A school ever won Raleigh Lane? Off the top of my head, I can't think of a time, Brian, but that's why I lean on you guys.
Yeah, I can't think of a time either. I mean, we've had 3A teams historically that probably could have. Like, we've had 3A teams win the Tiger-Grizz, back in the 90s, Sugar Salem, Snake River, pushed won Tiger-Grizz or pushed, but I don't know Raleigh. I can't think of a time. Somebody out there might know, but I can't think of a time.
Yeah, and then maybe in the chat somebody can let us know for sure. But and that kind of dovetails into Amy. Doesn't think Buell's getting enough love after all we had to listen to about how much better Fruitland is than Buell. A little disappointing. There wasn't a little more acknowledgement of that, and Buell still wasn't full strength. Amy, I don't know. Me personally, I picked Buell to win the 3A championship in the preseason. So it ain't coming from me, this Fruitland talk. Now, I think we have to acknowledge that Fruitland performed exceptionally well at Raleigh Lane. I mean, they lost by half a point. Teams that typically do well at Raleigh Lane typically do well at State. But I got to be honest, I think we've given just as much praise to Buell this year as we have to Fruitland. But I don't know. You guys tell me, Al, what do you think about this?
Well, Fruitland's top tier kids all performed well at that higher caliber tournament. But like we talked about, come to state, because you have that second kid, it comes down to numbers. So it's a different dynamic. So I think Buell will be in the mix. I think it will equal each other out. Then it'll come down to who has those extra kids and bonus points. So yeah, we have to factor that in. It's a different, as you say, calculus.
For sure. Ned says that Buell beating Fruitland at Gooding is a great win, but the only team win that matters is at the state tournament. That's right, Ned.
That's right.
Yep. We were talking about girls. Nick says girls need to be split in half. That's probably the next step is, a split of a large school, small school, something like that. And then maybe enough for every classification, I think, is eventually where we'll go. Lynn says, can't say it enough. Go Post Falls. And speaking of North Idaho, Travis wants to know, what matches are you interested in seeing at the North Idaho Rumble coming to Coeur d'Alene this weekend? Are there any that jump off the top of the page to anybody? It's going to be a good field.
Hoyt versus the 3A kids. Is Brunson healthy, and is he going to wrestle? Is Googleman healthy? Is he going to wrestle? Mm-hmm. Can they push Hoyt? That's my first one.
Yeah, there's just so many question marks surrounding so many talented wrestlers, right? It is hard for sure, but there's going to be some good teams competing up there. I mean, you're going to get East Valley coming over from Spokane, but additionally, I'm just looking at the team list here. Pocatello, I see.
I know Rocky's going there.
Yep, Rocky Mountain. Mountain Home's going to be up there competing. You've got Valley View making the trip up. And then, of course, you've got all the North Idaho teams, Lewiston, Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, Priest River, Sandpoint, Timberlake. Gallatin High School from Bozeman, Montana is coming over. That'll be interesting, too. So Caldwell's coming up also. Caldwell's going to be tough. Good competition in American Falls, making the trip up there to the North Idaho Rumble also. So it's going to be a lot of fun action there in Coeur d'Alene. Okay, here's a shout out. Jake and Kenna say, how about Tri-Valley? They're a 1A D2 school, smallest you can get in the state of Idaho. I gave them a shout out way back at the start of the year. Among the best things that I saw, they went up and won the Andrew Beck Memorial Tournament. That was a big accomplishment. And yeah, Tri-Valley is a team that's like Grace or the New Plymouth girls, right? They're small in numbers, but they're mighty in effort, Jacob.
Yeah, and doesn't 1A give away a state championship? Could be wrong. Chalice won it a few times, I believe. Grace. They get a banner for being the highest placing 1A team in the 2A division, right?
Yep, they do.
So
that's
that
definitely
might be my pick.
Yes,
write it down in the box.
well, yes. Yeah, Amy says best 1A team or highest scoring. Yes. And yeah, that 1A race is going to be fascinating because you've got Clearwater Valley, who's pretty good from the north. We talked about Grace, right? They're a 1A. You talk about Tri-Valley coming over to compete. Glens Ferry is a 1A. They always seem to be really tough. There's a lot of good 1A programs out there for sure.
Well, if I look at the Clearwater Classic, Clearwater was in 7th and Tri-Valley 10th. So, I mean, they were in the mix at that term, top 10, which is pretty good.
Yep, for sure. Here's Garrett Vale. Let's go, Minico. Hey, Garrett, I'm glad you keep coming back every week. We got a lifelong fan here. Alfonso says, how about all these 20-something young men coaching the next generation? I kind of like the assistant at Rigby, Brian.
Yeah, that assistant at Rigby, Ramos, he's doing a good job there. It's good to see Derek back in the state, back from college, coaching there at Rigby. When I saw him at that first duel, I was excited to go talk to him. And I love that because in this sport, seeing all these guys come back after they're done with college, we talked about that the other week on this show, is, that makes the programs around here so much better. So love seeing it.
Yep, for sure. Here's a shout out from the 2A ranks. Eddie says, go Firth Cougars. We get so focused on Ryrie up there in the nuke, right? The nuclear conference, District 6, Brian, but there's some good athletes from Firth. North Fremont's got some good kids too up there in District 6.
Absolutely. Firth had a good showing at that. I think it was Aberdeen's tournament, the Tiger Brawl. I think Firth was in the top 3, I think, or 3 or 4 there. So, they had some kids in the finals matches, but definitely some wrestlers at Firth, and they had a good showing this week at the Tiger Brawl.
And that's what Amy wanted to know. Did the Tiger Brawl even get a shout out? Just did. Aberdeen's a sneaky good. That district, Brian, District 5, because we talk about Malad, obviously, and West Side. Soda Springs has Bowen. Aberdeen's got tough kids, too. That's a good district down there, District 5 also.
Yep. No, it is.
Who's Aberdeen's 45-pounder, Jacob? What's his name? He's 2-time.
52.
Who's that?
Hyatt Beck. He's
tough.
Now.
He's a tough kid.
He can wrestle.
Heck of a football player, too, for Aberdeen on the gridiron, no doubt. Hey, X says, good afternoon, fellas. I don't know where you're at, X, but where I'm at, it's night. But no, I'm just giving you a hard time.
X. What's up, brother? Hang loose.
Yep. Oh, and Bugsy says Easton. There's Easton Beck, too, right? From Aberdeen. Eston. Yep. There you go. Okay, let's see. Kendra says, how about the Price sisters, both on the podium at Tiger-Grizz? Gracie at 100, Ava at 132.
Yep, super impressive. Again, that was one of the upsets in the night. I don't know, I'm not in the room. I don't know how close Gracie and Taylor Brown are, but that was, fun to see a little teammate on teammate violence, and Gracie pulled it off. Super impressive.
Yep, for sure. That's awesome. All right. Hey, well, let's wrap up the conversation tonight with where everybody is headed to compete this weekend. We've got the North Idaho Rumble. We kind of already talked about up here in North Idaho. But where's everybody going this weekend? Miria says freshman Malia Garcia from New Plymouth, one to keep your eye on. Where's New Plymouth headed this weekend? Let us know in the chat. Al, you said Rocky Mountain's coming up to Coeur d'Alene, right?
Going up north, yeah. They're heading up north.
You making the trip with them?
Say again?
You making the trip with them?
Oh, not this weekend. Not this weekend. And I think our girls are going to Burley, or I think
Red Halverson.
Yeah. You got Halverson this weekend.
Yep. Yeah, that's the other big one, right? Red Halverson. Jacob, I'm sure that's where you're going to be glued into.
Yeah, I will be. We'll see some goes there.
Yeah,
it'll be fun to see. BK, Minico, both be there. Kind of some 4A, get some clarity in the 4A races. So should be a good one.
Yep. Let's see. Miria says RD Brown Invitational in New Plymouth, taking place this week.
Is that the one where you earned a pilgrim hat if you win it?
I don't know. Is that a thing?
You get a pilgrim hat.
Is that a real thing, Al?
I think so. I see these kids wearing a pilgrim hat if they win it.
Wow.
Okay. Cool.
Minico better get the Spartan helmet now.
That'd be pretty sweet.
That would be epic. And Garrett Vale from Minico says, Red Halverson's going to be good. Yeah, that's the understatement of the year. Zach wants to know, will we see Exford and Burton round 2 at Halverson, Jacob?
I can speak for at least half of that. Who'll be there? So hopefully that's one.
Yeah, we should see it.
Yep. We should. Let's see. Travis says, Al, the pilgrim hats are retired.
They are.
So,
damn.
Yep, a legacy. Okay. Jake and Kenna say the North-South duels in Kuski. That's where Clearwater Valley is. A good head-to-head since the Magic Valley Classic was canceled, right? That's Wendell's big event that got wiped out by the weather a couple of weeks ago. That's a good 2A, 1A. So I'm glad to see some 1A teams going up to Kuski this weekend, right there along the river. Get some good action there. Mark says the Jerome Lady Tigers are going to Burley. That seems to be the big girls meet this week, Al, over in Burley. Yep. So, yep. All right. Well, it is just about an hour in the books, guys, which means we have come to the end of another edition of the Idaho Matt Chat Prepcast. Big thanks to everybody in the chat tonight for keeping it civil. You know, there's been a lot of things going on lately and everybody minding their P's and Q's. We really appreciate that because I don't want to go in and play comment police. I don't have time for that. So thank you to everybody for contributing to the conversation as always. Al, thanks for all that you do, and thanks for your latest hidden gems of Idaho wrestling as well.
Appreciate that. I'm blessed to be here. Thank you. I love Idaho.
Jacob, thanks for hopping on tonight.
Of course.
And Brian, thanks for making us laugh with that shirt.
We'll see all you diehards next week.
Yep.
Oh, hang loose, brother.
Sounds great. Hey, one last request, everybody, before you duck out for the night. If you could hit that like button one more time, share this when it's over. Everybody that wasn't here live tonight can then find the replay a little easier amongst all the social media activity going on. But thanks for tuning in to the Idaho Matt Chat Prepcast, everybody. Travel safe to wherever you're going this weekend. Weather's still a little dicey out there, and enjoy the competition. We'll see you back here next Tuesday, live at 8 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Pacific for another edition of the Idaho Matt Chat Prepcast here on IdahoSports.com.